Okay, what else? Well, it's a standard in the game, and I definitely do recommend. I do recommend the Jaeger Mechs. They're great fun to play. They have great mounting points for the weapons. As you can see, they're mounted up very high, and this is an aspect that I can't stress enough in this game. Because when you look at, like, see the Jaeger Mech, how high up the weapons are mounted, they're basically on cockpit level. There's the cockpit right here. There's the gun. And when you compare that to one of the mechs that's notorious for the low mounted weapons here, the cataphract. Um, this is where you put most of your stuff in a cataphract, the arms, right? Uh, this is where your cockpit is. So what'll happen in game is you'll stand behind the ridge in a sort of hull down position. You think you got a good shot on somebody, and in a Jaeger mech you would have the shot, but in the cataphract you'll fire and your shots will just hit the earth wall in front of you. So that's one thing I do like about the Jaeger mechs. Plus, you can mount an insane amount of weapons on these things. I mean, this is the one I use a lot of times now, simply because everybody seems to be running around on lights. Throw 4 streak launchers on there, maybe a couple of AC-10s, and you're good to go. So Jaeger mech, definitely recommended. Again, it's a little bit vulnerable. It's a tall target. You can. What really is a drawback here? See that little antenna up there? If you stick that, if that's sticking out from behind your cover, you're well hidden behind cover, you think, but that thing sometimes really sticks out, and if people hit you there, it'll count as a CT hit. So they hit you there a couple of times, and your torso will be open, and you'll be very vulnerable. Okay, but the one mech I really, really love, and I really do recommend, maybe not for a complete beginner, but then again, you'd have to earn some serious cash before you can buy it anyway, so you won't be a total beginner at this point. That's the Stalkers. I really love the Stalkers. I know some people don't like them, but you can say that about any mech, I guess. I do like them. I like their looks. I think they look menacing. I think they look cool. They handle pretty well for a mech this size. Um, and they have a devastating loadout. Plus, and that's really the most important point, I guess, as it is now in October 2013, the best weapon in the game, in my opinion, or one of the best weapons in the game, in my opinion, are the large lasers slash ER large lasers, and you can mount a whole bunch of them on these things. I mean, this is my 3F, and I run, as you can see, I run 3 ER large, I run 2 large lasers, and I run them with a which one do I have? Yeah, standard 300 engine, plus 2 heat sinks. The heat efficiency is okay. If you have a little trigger discipline, if you don't alpha all the time, it's really okay. And I usually run them with a cool shot anyway. That's your sorry about that. That's your module you can put in here. It's a consumable, so you have to pay for it in C builds, which is fine, and it'll just cool you right down, especially if you have the efficiencies for it unlocked. But that's a different point. Anyway, I like the Stalkers. I love the Stalkers. I'd love to have a Misery. I don't want to dish out the kind of money for it. It's the Hero Mech, the Stalker Hero Mech. So I do recommend those 3 Stalkers I have here. It's the 5M, which you can turn into a missile boat if you so desire. I wouldn't do it, but you can. It's the 3F, which is great with 3 EL large and 2 large, or 2 EL large and 3 large. And you get the 5S, which I bought because it has dual AMS, as you can see here. Those are the 2 AMSs, anti-missile system. And these things really take out a lot of missiles, especially if you have a friend in another Stalker 5S nearby who also runs 2 AMSs. Then LRMs are pretty much useless that are coming your way. Yeah, some drawbacks of the Stalker. It's not very fast. You can't mount a bigger engine than a 310. That's the largest you can get in there. So you're bound to be running a 280 or a 300. 280 takes only one internal heatsink. The 300 takes two, which isn't all that great because you're going to run out of slots pretty quickly. Slots and or tonnage on this thing, especially if you run a lot of lasers. And that's another, and which brings us to the other drawback, is heat problems, of course, because you're running this thing only has energy slots mostly. A couple of missile slots, yeah, but I usually only use them for streaks, if at all. So you're running around with a lot of lasers, and lasers make a lot of heat, and you're bound to overheat in 3 to 4 to 5 seconds in a really tight spot. So you want to run as many heat sinks as you can. On this thing I have 21, I think. If the engine were installed, it would be like 21. And that still overheats me. So you have to be careful. You have to be careful with your engagement. What you do is think of it as a... if you're familiar with tanks at all, World War II tanks, think of it as a, King Tiger. Don't put it out in the open because everybody's just going to shoot it. Everybody wants the stalker dead, Stay in cover. Poke your head out, shoot the enemy until you start overheating, then retreat back into cover, let it cool down. With 21 heat sinks, that'll happen quite quickly. Then go back out again there a little bit and shoot again. And don't wander away from cover unless you absolutely have to. Always stay near cover so you can get into cover quickly because, a 300 will make this thing decently fast, but not really fast, so it's all about the positioning. And another drawback of the Stalker, and they have some drawbacks, is it has huge side torsos. It's very, very easy to hit the side torso in this thing. As you can see, this is the center torso now. So it's almost, you have to go out of your way to hit the center torso on a Stalker. You'll probably hit the arms or the side torso, which is this here. Look at it from the front. You can easily hit it from the front, and from the side, you can't miss it, right? You either hit this one here, that's the arm, or the side torso, and that's what usually happens to me in bad games. I lose my ears, read arms, and right after that, my cheeks, my side torsos go, and then you're a stick, meaning you only have your center torso left, but there's no weapons in there, so you're useless. So yeah, I wouldn't. Whatever you do, don't run an XL engine in this thing. I mean, you can't get a big engine in there anyway. It's limited to a 310, so there's no point of putting an XL in there. Plus, the XL would just cost you more slots, and you need those for weapons and heat sinks. So, put a standard in there. I'd recommend a 300. You can go down to 280 if you have to, but 300 is really what you want. And just throw a lot of large lasers on there and play accordingly, and then you should do very well in those things.